I don't know why David Luiz is played at the back. The guy's a liability, as I've said. Luiz the liability for the past year and a half. The guy's hilarious. He can't defend. He can't defend to save his life. If I was playing at the back with David Luiz, I would go crazy. I would literally go crazy because I don't know what that dude is going to do. That dude is confusing. That dude is entirely confusing to me. I don't know I'd never know what he's doing at the back. I never know what he's doing at the back. What are you doing?
I'm imitating Luiz.
Oh, Luiz. Luiz's dummy was hilarious. It was a brilliant dummy. At least you could say Alvaro Negredo's dummy, which we'll get into in a sec. At least you could say Alvaro Negredo's dummy. It's like, mate, I'm an attacking player and the ball's going forward, so I can leave it. David Luiz tried to do the same thing, and it was like, dude, no, you're a defender. Clear the ball. Clear the bomber ball. I'm sorry, but David Luiz is infuriating. As a defender, that guy is infuriating. It's like,
you know.
I look at David Luiz as a defender and think, you're not a defender. How you got bought for 20+ million as a defender just makes Roman look like Romoron. But this is my view. Romoran Abrama. I can't even finish that on. I can't finish that on air. What I would like to call Roman Abramovich. But at the end of the day, all I could say is, Mourinho, keep playing David Luiz at the back. That dude's got five mistakes per game. That dude is brilliant. In terms of the title race, he's going to mess up Chelsea and he's going to keep things open. It is tremendous. It is tremendous. You know, once again, a big shout out to @RebeccaKnight01 on Twitter and LaFootiettes on Twitter as well, because we had a hilarious debate on Twitter about David Luiz, and this dude, like, his hair makes him look crazy, but his defensive skills are non-existent.
That's just harsh.
It's one of them ones. He looks like one of the hair bear bunch in a footballing kind of way of looking at it. He is as much of a joke as the hair bear bunch was as a program. So it's one of them. It's one of them ones. Mourinho, or Moniho as I like to call you, keep playing David Luiz. It's going to keep everything wide open and it's going to bugger Chelsea over. Fan-effing-tastic. But you know what? Yeah, let's go.
They won 4-1 in the end. So like,
they did. But Luiz is going to have mistakes like that. Do you know what that seemed like? Do
you know what that seemed like?
What's that?
It was just like like you're playing FIFA and your battery and your control pads coming low with the PlayStation and your Wi-Fi controller, and then all of a sudden it knocks out and your player just starts doing its own thing. And he just leaves the ball. That's what it just seemed like.
That's exactly. That is David Luiz to a T. That is brilliant. That is brilliant. That is. It's like, no. For me, it's one of them ones. I don't know, man. As David Luiz as a defender, for me, is just not a defender. Defensive mid is the furthest back I would have that guy. I wouldn't have him in the back line. I would always want someone covering him because he's prone to eccentricity and flights of fancy. All right, the Brazilian way and all that, but at the end of the day, if you haven't got a whole team around you that's on the same wavelength as you, you can't be running around like that, like a headless chicken. But Eden Hazard scored on 33 minutes and 82 minutes. Eto'o scored on 66 minutes, and Oscar scored on 78 minutes. Oscar with a quality goal. I think it was Hazard's 82nd minute goal was a legit goal of the week contender. Great goal. No, it's Oscar's. Great goal. But Samuel, I think it was the Eden Hazard first goal, which was hilarious. Legitimately a shaft job, because at the end of the day, Marshall in the goal, Marshall in the Marshall in the Cardiff goal. It really should have been given for a foul on him, because at the end of the day, he's technically still in control of the ball. So it's on them was they kept asking Dion Dublin about it, but it's on them was Dion Dublin's thing was different. Shay Given rolled that ball like a couple yards forward. With Marshall, it was just bouncing it in front of him, and the guy took the ball off him. And it's like, wait, hold on a minute. No, what are you doing, Eto'o? That's unsportsmanlike to me. But it's one of them ones. But you know what? That aside, Chelsea still ended up going on to score 3 more goals, but it was a turning point. that first goal, that equaliser was a turning point. You know, I just want to give a quick shout out and say a big hello to Mr. Samir Sawney, Director of Motivate Sports and Fitness, and he is the latest person who sat down with us for a Pitch Talk meet. Samir, how goes it, and have you recovered from that crazy night sitting in the Pitch Talk meets chair?
No.
See, it leaves an impact.
Yeah, impacting operative word. No, it was awesome, really good. Voice is still a bit sore.
It's all good. We got all that material in post, so it's going to be a lot of fun to edit. How have you been, though, man? How have you been? And do you want to jump in on about David Luiz as well, quickly?
Yeah, been really good. Super busy. I must apologise because I've been a bit lax with being on the show, but back and raring to go.
I hear that, man. I hear that. What's your thoughts on David Luiz? Because you've had some quite interesting stuff to say on the Skype chat.
I'm not the biggest David Luiz fan. It's not because I don't think he's a talented player. He definitely is. He just hasn't potentially adapted at the moment to probably the type of game that is necessary to be successful, certainly in the Premier League, if not European football. Brazilian footballers are brought up on a diet of you can be a box-to-box player, because if you guys know it, but the general football fan who maybe hasn't watched much Brazilian football, and I talk specifically about Brazilian, it's a Brazilian thing. There is this belief that the defender can go box to box. They actually can take the ball and dribble out. And I was speaking about players like Lucio, who, funny enough, Mourinho managed as well, and did get a couple of good years out of him. And I also gave the example of Rio Ferdinand. I don't know if you guys remember that he was a player that was prone to making a lot of mistakes early on in his career because he had this talent, and he can dribble a little bit.
He still is for me. He still is prone to
mistakes. Still can, but he's learned, and I think under Ferguson certainly, under O'Leary at Leeds, it was he was in a bit more of a free playing team. There was no out and out star player. They were all, I'd say, equals. At Manchester United, they were all superstars, and he was coming in and he had a role to do, which was to not cross the halfway line every time he got the ball. And I think that Luiz needs to work on that as well, which is he needs to know when it's appropriate to do that. There's nothing wrong with that. We've seen plenty of good players be able to do that here and there. I think Gary Cahill actually is not that bad a player when it comes to going forward. But Gary Cahill's been brought up on a completely different, maybe on a cultural diet of there's an appropriate time and place. I actually personally prefer to see David Luiz playing further up the pitch anyway. I think he's very technically gifted, but I think he makes far too many mistakes in his own sort of area, and he tends to have this tendency, the Alan Hansen comment always comes in my head about the FIFA play, where he just loses his bearings and then suddenly makes a fundamental mistake and then lets down his other centre-back. I don't think his communication is that strong either. He doesn't seem to be the loudest player, and I know you can say, well, all players are loud, but what I mean is that there's an appropriateness of just using communication and actually fulfilling the other three or two or however many other defenders that are around you with confidence. I don't think they're particularly confident with him, and because of his physique and his ability to spray the ball about a bit, he does tend to get away with it, but he will keep making his mistakes unless he taps his game. But I think Mourinho, for some reason, sees something in him. He seems to be preferring him at the moment to Cahill for the partnership. So time will tell. I have faith that maybe Mourinho will do something with him, but also Mourinho isn't going to also hold on if somebody's not going to listen to the changes he wants to make. And I would point out, I believe Lucio did it for a short spell, so it's not impossible. And I thought Lucio was prone to making a lot of mistakes. For example, the Michael Owen goal in the World Cup in 2002. He just got nutmegged. He was trying to be smart, and Owen made him look like a fool. And I see David Luiz very similar to that. But he's young, so things could change. But yeah, my judgment is reserved at the moment. I'm still not sure.
I think you're right in terms of he's technically gifted, but as I said, I'd never play him at the back. Too prone to making silly mistakes at that. It's one of them ones. Look at the mistake for Jordan Much's goal. It's like, and I've seen that before. And I mean, it's one of them ones. Dimitar Berbatov has just scored. 50 minutes gone, and it's 3-1 to Fulham against Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park. It was a quality header, actually. It was a very good header. And you know what? It was after Darren Bent passed up a good opportunity. It was a good save from Speroni, though. But Luiz, the liability, yeah, he's got time. But I said I would not play him at the back. Just wouldn't play him at the back. For that amount of money, if you're paying that amount of money for him, you got to get something out of him. And I think defensive mid is as far back because he loves a tackle and he likes to break up play. He likes to get stuck in. So that's why I play him at defensive mid. And he's a big fella as well. But